you a fan of this podcast? Do you wish there was even more juicy content for you to sink your ears into? Well, there is. You can become a premium member of this podcast for $5.99 a month and get full access to an archive of over 50 bonus episodes. Additionally, we release a bonus episode every single month. That's a ton of extra content, including my personal interior design diaries, extra tips, my talking about trends, and so much more. Additionally, you'll be keeping us on the airwaves each and every week because your premium membership money goes directly back to making this podcast amazing. Check us out at affordableinteriordesign.com. Click on podcast to learn more and to become a premium member today.
You don't need a high-end designer or a lot of money to get a luxe look. Be your own interior designer.
This is Affordable Interior Design, the podcast.
Here's your host, Betsy Helmuth.
So Paulina and I were just at my office, my storefront, hanging out here on Main Street, talking about the academy and preparing. And we just started talking about the realities of being an interior designer and how, as I've been having these calls with people who are prospective students of the academy, there's been a lot of misunderstandings about what a designer really does, what it means to work at a firm, what you need. And so Paulina and I were just like chitty-chatting. And I was like, Paulina, this stuff is gold. Like, there's stuff I didn't even know. So let's record our conversation. So anyway, Paulina, welcome. This is Paulina DuPain. She is one of the designers at Affordable Interior Design. She's been with us for nearly 4 years, but also she's the co-teacher at Affordable Interior Design Academy. Not only has she been to design school, she actually went to architecture school as well. She's worked for architects. She's worked for stone sources. She's worked in all levels of this field and really has a lot of good background information. So, yeah, Paulina, let's get into it. Let's just keep chitty-chatting.
Thanks for having me, Betsy. Yeah, we were just talking about the design school and those questions, and we just decided it's really fuzzy. It's a really fuzzy topic.
Because, you know, when I tell people during the calls that nobody ever asks me if I've been to interior design school. Nobody even asked me if I graduated college, frankly. And I mean, I did graduate college and I spent a lot of money to go there. I sometimes wish people would just ask, you know, what was your GPA? Because I didn't actually need to study that hard. And I didn't know. And so I was telling her, because I handle the bookings along with Brandy, that when people call and ask to hire us, nobody asks if we've been to interior design school. 3 of my designers have. I'm sorry, 3 of mine haven't. 5 of my designers have. And nobody ever asks, can I have the one who's been to school? And we're totally transparent in our bios on the website, so it's very clear, but nobody wonders. And then Paulina was saying.
Yeah, and I actually have this feeling that, yes, why did I spend so much money on school? I'm joking. I did actually learn a lot. But even when you go and apply for, you know, a job in a firm, I mean, you do have your resume that says where you went to school, but nobody really asks you. Nobody says, hey, what degree do you have? Like, where did you go to school? How many years have you completed? Did you even complete your school? Like, can I see your diploma? Like, nobody ever asks those questions. It's really funny.
Well, and really, I think they're just trying, you know, they're going to teach you their methods anyway.
Yeah.
They're going to teach you their way of working, which is why we started the academy. I'm going to teach you how to work my way, no matter what way you have before, because it's not homogenous. Like, everybody's teaching different things in different ways. I can't be sure you have the knowledge I need you to have. So I'm going to have to teach you that. And you're going to have to work with the software I use, and I'll probably have to teach you if you didn't learn it in school. So I think that's kind of where people are at, even in firms, like knowing that you may not have the same foundation of knowledge they have, and they'll have to teach you on the job.
Yeah, but it also depends where you want to work, right? Like what kind of designer you want to be. Do you want to just place furniture, pick fabrics, put pillows, or do you actually want to move the walls and put plumbing in and determine where your toilet and sink and all the stuff in the kitchen is going? That's a little bit more involved. That's where you really need that schooling, when you need that knowledge of, AutoCAD and Revit, which are predominant programs in most architectural firms. You really need that knowledge. And then when you go working for those firms, they will ask you, do you know AutoCAD? Do you know Revit? And you have to know them, because, the truth is most architects are a little bit older. So when you graduate from school and you go and work for them, you're the CAD person. You the drafter, right? You sit there 9 to 5 in front of the exciting AutoCAD program, which is black screen with colorful lines, and that's what you do. And then, sometimes they don't even know how to work those programs. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. So you graduated from school, you have that fresh knowledge, you're gonna be a drafter. You're not going to be so involved in picking the fabrics and, fixtures and the finishes for the space until you've been working with the firm for a while.
And something that I thought was so interesting that you said as we were just chatting before we decided, oh my gosh, we should record this, is that, people outsource this stuff.
Yeah.
So people will subcontract it to the place they're buying the cabinets to have the kitchen designer do it. Or they'll subcontract the drafting to somebody who only does drafting so that they don't have to have somebody on staff, right? So it's so funny that she said that, because that's the same thing we advocate for here. Certainly we could kitchen plan, we could learn that, but it's going to come free with your cabinets. And every one of those kitchen places uses a different line of cabinets. So even if you did do your own drawings, even if you did do your own plans, they're going to have to do theirs. Same with mill workers. They're not going to trust our drawings and our measurements when it's their work on the line. They're going to come in and make their own drawings and take their own measurements. So outsourcing is key because they're going to do it anyway. So these are all important things to know, and it really takes the onus off of us, because even at a large firm, they might be, relying on other experts. I remember when I worked for Tom Felicia, we would often go to Waterworks, a super pricey fixture place, and we would rely on their knowledge because they know all about the latest things coming out. So we'd say, what would you recommend for this space? Look at these pictures. We were really using them as a design partner rather than taking over, because there's so many innovations constantly happening in these fields.
Those people are pros in their fields. I mean, you are a pro too, but that's what they do 24/7. That's their job, right? Like, I can tell you where I want my sink. I want my sink to be under the window, or I want my fridge to be in a certain spot. But I will still give a drawing to a person who is a specialist in those kitchens, right? And they're going to tell me, okay, I can put a 24, 36-inch cabinet here and there. You tell me what you need and I'm going to build it for you. So, and I also see it a lot with like smaller firms, with even designers who don't work for larger architectural firms or big designers, that they outsource everything. I was shocked how much people outsource. Like, I don't know, I'm the type of person that just tries to do everything on their own, and I think it's smart. But I also wonder, like, how much work is actually of that person and how much work is outsourced. Sometimes that makes me wonder, because I see people outsourcing everything from drawings to renderings to even like picking of furniture. So I'm like, what did you do here as a designer?
Well, and I really love doing that too. Like, I'll meet my clients at a tile store, but I'll make sure to call ahead and have one of their employees work with us. So I'll be giving my design opinion as we work, but they'll be providing the options based on the specs, right? So they'll say these 5 tiles would be ideal on this type of bathroom floor. And then I'll help further guide the client and say, you know what, I think we should stay in the grays because that's what's featured in XYZ, right? Or that's how we can tie together the kitchen and make all the architectural finishes feel somewhat cohesive. So it's just nice to not have to know everything, especially in a landscape where everything's always changing and there's all these cool innovations. And I even tell my client when we get there, I'm not the expert here. We are going to rely on their expertise, and I'm going to give my design expertise aesthetically, and together we'll merge and come up with an amazing plan.
Yeah.
But I never go to these places without a rep.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know your own basics, right? You know some design rules. Like if you go pick up a tile with your client, you're obviously not going to recommend them penny tiles for the floor in the bathroom, right? They should go under in the shower, but you never want that penny tile all over the floor in the bathroom. That's just going to get gross, right? So much grout. Ugh. So you need to know that stuff, right? Like that's where your expertise comes in. But when it comes to, like Betsy said, durability of certain tiles, right? The maybe even trends of 2019, right? Those people know, they get their catalogs, they know what's in, they know what's the best quality, right? So I always rely on them too.
Yeah. And I think there's definitely a place for interior design school. Some people need that diploma for confidence. But I will tell you, even the people who've been to design school and come out with that diploma cannot work with clients with confidence oftentimes. You know, it's really an innate skill set that a diploma won't just give you. You have to find that confidence either in a framework or in a package that you can offer so the client has clear expectations and you can walk in and bust that out. Or in a system that you're using, like, you know, at Affordable Interior Design, we have like a 1 through 10 step system. From the minute we walk in to the minute we leave, we know exactly what to do. So that framework is what gives us confidence, not any diploma or previous work in other apartments. It's following the step-by-step process. And it gives our client such ease. And now it's time for a quick commercial break. Do you love this podcast? Do you wish you could learn even more? Well, we have an online class bundle. Our online class bundle is comprised of 3 online classes: Beautifying Your Home for Less, Styling Your Home, and the Fundamentals of Feng Shui. Each one of those 3 classes is between 30 and 45 minutes long and chock-filled with visuals and tips, things that will help you to style your own space or help out with other spaces. Additionally, with the pack of 3 classes, you get an autographed copy of my book, Affordable Interior Design. You get all of that for only $99. Once again, that's the 3 online classes as well as the book for only $99. You just go to affordableinteriordesign.com/classes. Once again, affordableinteriordesign.com/classes to buy your bundle today. And if one of those classes sounded intriguing, but maybe you already have my book or some of the other topics are not of interest, you can buy the classes individually at that site as well. Each class is $40. So head over to affordableinteriordesign.com/classes to get your bundle or your online class today. You know, I've been talking to people on the phone and they've been like, Betsy, I feel like I need a certification for confidence. And I will tell you right now, and Paulina can attest to this, you know, how many designers have we trained? I personally have probably trained 15 with this system. And Paulina, maybe you've trained 7 with me?
Yeah,
6?
probably 7.
And confidence is not something you get with a piece of paper. Confidence is something you have to bring to the table with managed expectations and a plan.
And you do have to be confident as a designer. You know, you those people have to trust you. You have to gain their trust, and quite often you have couple hours to do so. So if you're not comfortable in your own choices, it's going to be very hard for your client to be comfortable with you and trust in you. And also think about what you want to do. Like, do you want to work for a big firm? Do you want to work for a small firm? Do you want to work for yourself, right? Like, when I was in school, most of my classmates were like, oh, I want to work for Gensler. I'm going to go and work for Gensler. Like, I don't want to work for Gensler. I'm going to be a CAD person for the 3 years of my life. And then hopefully I'll move up the ladder and be somebody who also picks styles. But it's you know, working for a big firm is something that a lot of people want to do, but it's not for everybody. If you want to work for Gensler, yes, go ahead, go to Pratt, get your degree.
I have a question about that.
Spend $120,000.
I have a question. So have you checked in with them again? Like, what are they doing now? Your friends who worked at design firms.
So some of them have their own companies. Some of them work for. It's funny. It's really funny. A lot of everybody does something else. It's really funny because there's a lot of things you can do after interior design school. You don't even have to work in interior design. Really, you could do stage. You can do stage setting, right? I have a lot of people who went into different majors, and I have people who studied. They build furniture. So they design and build furniture, which is something that you could do after interior design school. I have some people who build sets, for theaters and sometimes commercials. You could work for Bloomingdale's or Macy's and do their displays. Furniture displays. So there's a lot of jobs you can actually do, but for stuff like that, do you really need a degree?
Well, and I was just thinking, because I've never actually thought about this question for myself until I just asked you, but like, what are the people who interned with me doing right now? And each one of them, so there were 3 interns at the time that I worked there, each one of them has their own firm now.
Wow.
Even though some of them went on to work for high-end designers. But each one of them has branched off and opened their own firm. And it's because you don't get to make creative decisions. And you get into this work because you want to make creative decisions and you want to be able to have the say. Like, I choose the color. Yeah. I choose the table. And when you're working for a high-end firm or a firm at all, it takes a long time to work your way up the ladder so that you're making choices. And it's funny to think about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting.
So we all of us made our own firms, but the key with me wasn't to have a firm. It was to have design choices and fresh clients and fresh projects and not get locked into a project for 2 years, not get locked behind a computer. And that's been really freeing and stimulating. And I must say, I've been doing this for 14 years. It's still not old. Like, I worked with 2 clients yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's a problem for many designers because you do go into the interior design field or interior design school because originally you are a creative person, right? You are either an artist that, couldn't afford to live as an artist or you are a creative person. So being a creative person, you go into interior design thinking you're going to be creative and you're going to be making all of these decisions. But then you go to school, you graduate and you go working for a firm and then you work for 2 years on one project. Like it gets boring.
Yeah.
It gets boring.
And that's surprising. It surprised me how boring it was.
Yeah, me too. And I love construction. I love construction. I could be on construction every day. I just love it. But it's boring. We've been working on this project for 2 years, you know? The styles change in 2 years.
Yes, I found that too. We were designing a custom dollhouse for a kid.
Oh, gosh.
And by the time it was ready, is this girl still into dolls 2 years later? I don't know. This seems like a big outlay of money.
13 and 15, big difference.
Yeah, right? My daughter's into LOL dolls one day and totally moved on to Pokemon the next. So I can't imagine constructing, this thousands of dollars worth of dollhouse.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it was surprising to me. And a real education. But speaking of education, and I was shocked that you said $120,000 for your design school.
Well, it's anywhere from I think 40 to 70 a year.
Wow.
So if you're going for a 4-year program, 60 times 4, 240.
That was shocking to me, actually.
I think Pratt is 60.
A year?
Yeah.
Hello. Well, guys, I hope you have had a little interior design reality check. I know I have.
Yeah.
Paulina, we should chitty chat more often.
Just keep that microphone going.
Just keep it hot. Yeah. Well, guys, it has been such a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for joining me here at the store.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
It was so much fun.
Come back anytime. And until next week, guys, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. You've asked for it, and we have answered the call. For years, you've been saying, Betsy, you're talking about all these great design concepts, but we can't visualize them. You're describing the picture that the listener sent in of their problem, and we wish we could see that picture too. After all, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I do my best to describe them, but there's nothing like seeing it for yourself. And that's why Affordable Interior Design, the podcast, now has a YouTube channel. Not only do we have a YouTube channel where you could see recordings and clips of these podcast episodes, we also have an Instagram, a Facebook, and so many other exciting things. You should check it out. Head over to affordableinteriordesign.com/links. Once again, affordableinteriordesign.com/LINKS. links. And when you go there, you will see links to our YouTube page, our Instagram page, our Facebook page, and more. Please check it out, follow and subscribe so you can see everything I'm talking about. A big thank you to our amazing producer, Catherine Heller, to Aton and the MBCR House Band, and to Affordable Interior Design, the sponsor of this podcast and the premier place to get an amazing look on a budget. Check out affordableinteriordesign.com. If you guys love the show, the very best way to support us is by spreading the word. Tell your friends or write us an awesome review on iTunes. So until next week, guys, thanks so much for joining us, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.